I requested to come here just to let you guys know that we've got a couple of different grant situations. And I think what's happening is that there's either COVID related money or the Recovery Act money that's here. So some of these grant programs are a little different than we've typically seen. One, we've got an application actually we put into the county, our CDBG2 project for last year. We got funded the first project, the second project got denied, and then we're getting ARPA money from the county to fund that project after all. So the agreement's different, some of the requirements are different. It's like a 150-page agreement. I did go through it. I had some questions for Bill, and Bill assured me we're okay with the audits and things like that. Mike's got some review to do. Once he gives me the okay, I can get that to Mayor White to sign. But the bigger one is the senior center grant. Not bigger in size, just I wanted to make council aware because it requires a little bit of leap of faith on your part. Typically the way things go is we'll apply for a grant. When we get it, there's paperwork that goes back and forth. We call it GDA. It's a grant disbursement agreement. Once that agreement is signed, all parties are committed. We're committed to receiving the funding and doing the project. At that point, we start expenditures and start working on a project. There's a written contract that says we're going to get reimbursed. So this one's a little different. What it involves is the county did an evaluation of our senior center and they looked at the HVAC equipment. Primarily, they're looking for like the filtering we have, the HVAC equipment, and things like that. So they did an evaluation. We have a technical spec to replace the air handling unit with the new air handling unit. We put together a bid package in-house on that, bid it, and we opened it on February 1st. The little bid, it was a company out of Rochester. I think it was EMCOM. It's a company I'm not familiar with, but they are fairly large in the Rochester area. They came in at $23,000. The reason we don't have a resolution today is because I wanted to let you guys know that we don't have an agreement with the county for this work. So in addition to that, they also are including other COVID safety measures, such as like flushable toilets, handless sinks, the actuators, as well as like towel dispensers. So once I get that information from Mandy, price-wise, I'm going to combine that with our bid and then send that to the county, and then they're going to start the agreement process. So I don't think there's a reason to be super worried that the county's not going to follow through and we're going to enter into an agreement with the contractor and then it's all going to fall apart. There's not going to be an agreement, but that's information that you guys need to know before I present you with a resolution. So are you guys okay if we proceed with a resolution authorizing the start of the HVAC work without having a GDA from the county? And it just means I don't put the resolution on. It doesn't mean that you can't vote no, but.
So just to recap, the work's going to include new sinks, toilets, towel dispensers, floor.
Just the touchless aspect of it. So we're not getting. That's actually a question I have for you because I know you had sent an email to Jenna or to Mandy a while back about new toilets for the senior center.
Yes.
The toilets are not included. It's just the operator.
Oh, okay.
Automatic.
Yeah.
And then also there are, I can't remember if it was 2 or 3 of the portable air purifiers, little units with the HEPA filters and UV light. And those are for that main gathering area. So you can kind of spread those around, plug them in and turn them on when there's event.
When do you anticipate the work to begin?
I guess it all kind of depends on when we get it work back and forth. So typically the way it would work is once you guys approve us to enter into agreement with the contractor, I'll send out what's called a notice of award. So I'll put together a letter and I request bonds, insurances, and whatnot from the contractor. That whole paperwork exchange takes about 30 days. Once we get that in, Mayor White executes the contract based on the resolution. And then I send out fully executed contracts to all the parties. So you're usually looking at like about 45 days, 50 days after the council has approved the resolution. And then the construction duration on that is for the HVAC part, it's 90 days to substantial, 105 days to final. So substantial completion means the work is mostly done. We'll go in and do like a final walkthrough and give them a punch list, and then they got like another 15 days to address little points. And then the actual work for, putting the touchless things on, that's, I've got a request into DPW and Parks to see if that's something that can handle now. Because that work is not included in the grant. So another thing that's a little different about this grant application too is, since we're literally going in with having a bid price and a purchase price of the materials, any overage that happens, which I always say figure 10% on a contract, that's going to be the city's. So if we're looking at, whatever $35,000 project, figure $3 to $5 grand is going to end up being the city's, but what you're getting, it's still a pretty good deal.
Yeah. In the event, if that does happen, Bill, we have money on our maintenance line for there, right?
Me?
Yes.
There is some money on the maintenance line, depending on what the needs are. Because we've been talking about some other maintenance issues. We need to sit down with the director of rec and find, just to lay that out and see what additional funds might be over and above that. And then we can talk about the any necessary council budget adjustments to find the additional funds.
My first question is the available funds, because we're going to front the money. If we do get the grant, one, it's 100% coverage. It's not a shared
Yes.
shared
Aside
amount.
from any overage, yes.
Gotcha.
And the
And
design was done by the same people that did the evaluation for the county.
Okay.
So, I talked to the engineer the county hired, and they said it's pretty much plug and play, which. Okay. I'm not comfortable with that, but not that it can't be done, but I think there'll be modifications with ductwork and things like that, maybe some curving and stuff, which we won't know, remove the existing unit. It's like,
but your level of confidence in getting the funding is high.
Yeah, but I don't know when they're gonna have
we've
that.
done a lot of grants for the county over the 16 years that I've been here, and we have a really good working relationship with them. We've probably done somewhere on the order of 25, 26 different projects that's been funded by the county. But again, typically we have a GDA in place prior to starting to.
And would that turn around within this year, or would that payment be reimbursed next year? So I mean, are we looking at it being a wash before the end of the year?
So I think the longest part of this project actually will be getting a GDA almost in place, because once the county's always eager to have us reimburse as soon as possible. Part of the reason that we get so many grants as we do through the county is because we'll get these mid-year awards, or April, May, June, somewhere in that area. They'll tell us, okay, here's your GDA, go. And then we have till not that December, but the following December to complete the project. We're usually able to get the projects done by that December, or at least fill out a significant portion.
Gotcha.
And the more money that gets spent at the feds give them, this is HUD money, by the way, for the typical CDBG project we're talking about, it kind of makes them look better.
Okay.
So they like the fact that we can turn these projects around quickly and get them filled out.
Any other questions?
Is any anticipation for disruption of services over there for a period of time, or is there schedule that they keep?
No, and if there is, it would be very minimal, just because it's the way it works is they'll order the equipment. So the duration, probably the biggest unknown time frame wise of construction is actually ordering and getting the rooftop unit there, just because there are supply chain issues, and I don't know what kind of backlog we're looking at for that unit. But they'll actually have everything out and shipped to site, including having the crane and everything ready. And then when it's time to actually do the work, they'll do the electrical disconnect, the mechanical disconnect, pull the old unit off, and then get the new unit on. It should be done within like a couple of days. It shouldn't be a long process. So if there was going to be a delay, or even when we get to that point where we know things are scheduled and be delivered, we can certainly work with Kelly and let her know, when the disruption is going to happen.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Just to clarify, is the senior citizen site the primary site for both senior and youth activities?
Yes.
And is the Kohler Pool area, is that still an active site, or is that, could that be utilized if we needed it? If there had to be closure for a period of time?
So Kohler Pool used to be the site of where the after-school program used to be. So what they did is they moved that to the Senior Citizen Center. It's still a business that, or it's still a building that's operable. So if needed, I think we could transfer there, but do you anticipate that that would be a scenario?
With construction being as short as it is in duration, I don't think it'll be a big issue, but that's certainly an opportunity if the city wanted to do it. Because to my knowledge, I don't think that building's really being used for much of anything until, you know, the pool.
All right, Mr. Clerk, if you could just pull the council to see if we're in agreement for this resolution.
Yes, this is for the resolution for the following council meeting with regards to the work being done at the senior center, HVAC and other utilities. Volanich,
So you would say yes or
Oh, yes.
Nocera,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
aye.
Okay, so we'll have the resolution for the next meeting.
Yeah, and just to clarify, Jim, this will come in two parts. Unless I get something from Andy earlier, I'll have the resolution awarding the contract to contract the HVAC work. The material purchase resolution will come once I get their information.
So the cost not to exceed 23,000.
Correct, that's for the construction of the HVAC.
Thank you, Jason.
Right, thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have Mr. Kokanovic. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for the opportunity. For the time. Periodically, I do try to come speak to the council in terms of updates for the housing authority. Just to keep everybody aware, even though we're a state entity operating in the city, we're a city of Tonawanda residents. And having been a city of Tonawanda resident my entire life, I want to make sure that everybody's informed of the things that are going on. In particular, if you're not aware, there was a eviction moratorium that was in place prior to January 15th. We have kept all of our tenants informed. We put letters in every mailbox in terms of not only the eviction moratorium ending, but the go forward plan for the housing authority, as well as programs for protection, like the statement called ERAP, which is emergency funding for any arrears that people have. The challenge with these programs, and I'll talk briefly about that, is that funding, money, it's always money. So I'll cover a little bit more about that. The Housing Authority impact to date is that we're in arrears right now, $171,000 from 81 tenants. Okay. 81 tenants represents about 35% of the total Housing Authority apartments. And approximately that's 230 people. 230 people live in the city of Tonawanda, who attend the schools, potentially work here, and it's the roof over their head. ERAP, the program that the state has, is quite frankly, it's unfunded. There is no money coming unless something gets done by the state government to fund what isn't currently funded or distributed. They've distributed pretty much $0. Public housing, such as Tonawanda Housing Authority, was put at the bottom of the priority list. Everybody else will get money before housing authorities. Primary reason for that is the legislation that was written in December included Tonawanda Housing Authority in with all of the other housing authorities across the state of New York, which they all called them subsidized. Tonawanda Housing Authority is not a subsidized housing unit. It's one of 7 left in New York State that are solely owned and operated by the state of New York. We get no money from any entity other than rent. No government gives it, none of the governments, county, state, local, we get no money from anyone. There is no subsidy. But the legislation was written and it rolled us into that pile of 75 other housing. One of the things that I would ask the members of the council, mayor, to try and do, reach out to our assembly person, Mr. Conrad, state senator, if we can, letting them know, because I do let them know. We send a minimum once a week. I make phone calls. I call anybody and everybody I can in the state of New York who will take my email or my phone call. And I've been doing this since December. People listen, at least they're listening. We haven't made any headway in terms of coming up with this funding. But again, I would ask if possible, if you could reach out, that would be very helpful. The tenants do have a level of protection, even if the money is not forthcoming. ERAP extends them eviction protection. So nobody is facing an eviction by the end of this month. But there is really no clarification as to what the state's protection is for ERAP. Again, in this government work, they ended the moratorium and said there's additional protection for these 230 people, while the state tries to figure out where it can find some money. That's the only clarification. There's no time frame to that. It doesn't say what additional protections might be. So we're still awaiting clarification. The Tonawanda Housing Authority is not moving forward on evictions at this time. Just so on public record, I want people to know, because again, through social media, things get a little bit whaley. They're all aware. So I want you to know that we are not pursuing evictions at this time. We just, again, the thought process of the board as well is, where are folks going to go? Really, where are they going to go? So we're working on a plan. And again, it's a plan A, B, C, D, and E, and you may use them all the same day. But you've got to continue to plan to try and find a way to keep a roof over people's heads. And that's what we're doing. Even without this $171,000 of the arrears, we have not had to reach in any kind of reserves to operate on a daily basis. It sure is ugly, but at the same time, we're making progress and we're holding our own. So just to let you know about it. Vacancy remains high. We have a state goal of being at 95% occupied. And we have not been anything less than 95. And quite frankly, nobody's moving. We know it. Nobody's going to move around. So our costs go down as well because we're not having to take care of apartments. So some of that is sort of, I call it self-inflicted, in terms of our cost control, because there's not a lot of movement. We do, on a positive note, we do have 2 new tenant reps. And what the tenant reps, once they got elected, and really their platform was to be more involved with the tenants. Some of the things that they've done so far is they did a Halloween decorating contest and a holiday decorating contest. And we gave away some gift cards for Tops, gift cards, if you will. It was, again, the involvement, they're giving out a business card with the name and contact information, which we've never done that before. So they find another advocate, another tenant advocate that maybe they didn't understand or they didn't have prior to these 2 tenant reps. We've got a bunch of other stuff planned. We want to have a sort of a, I'll call it this way, meet the council, meet the mayor cookout. We'll give you plenty of advance warning on that. We're probably going to do a fire safety day. We did that a couple years ago. A bike rodeo, a couple of things like that to sort of build a sense of community within the housing authority which again, helps people to feel more a part of the community, and not be transient based or what have you. Give it a sense of community. We will be starting, RFPs will be going out in the next 30 to 45 days for basically about $1.5 to $2 million roofing project. We have 23 buildings on Gibson Street that'll be basically taking down the decking and brand new roofs put on all the rest of those buildings. We did get about $2.4 to $2.5 million from the state of New York in a grant the end of last year. But again, given the fact that COVID, supply chain, we're going to see and find out what the RFPs are going to look like in terms of who can do work. We just finally completed our IP&A, the integrated physical needs analysis for the property, which hasn't been done that I'm aware of, at least in the last 30 years. The goal behind the IP&A is to figure out the game plan for the property for the next 1 to 5, 5 to 10, and 10 to 20, and well beyond my serviceable years of 30 years or so, in terms of what investment, what needs to happen, so that the next person who walks into this role that I'm in today, they'll have a plan, they'll have a game plan, as opposed to maybe that didn't exist prior. Okay, that was about $100,000 to get that completed. And again, the state gave us a grant to take care of it. That was about it. Other than I do want to say thank you to City Council, Mayor. Congratulations, John.
Thank you, Dale.
City Hall, the Police Department, the Fire Department, and DPW for their support. We're trying to do things differently. We need everybody that we do contact, and we really appreciate the positive feedback that we're getting, as well as the support. Without all of that happening, we're not going to make the progress that I expect us to make. So, any questions?
Dale, you have receivables, let's say 171,000.
Correct.
What other income are you getting? You can't go after these, so you
None.
want to have a roof over your head.
No.
So what other income do you have that can keep you guys afloat?
That's $171,000 over the past 26 months.
Okay.
So what it is it's taking away, that $171,000 is taking away money that we're trying to put into our daily operating account and our reserve account, which is severely below what the state requires. So any revenue we were going to generate at the end of the last 2 years, we're simply not putting into reserve. We're not, you know what I mean? So we're able to operate with our operating funds that we do collect, but we are not building the reserve account and operating fund to go forward. And if we have a $20,000 or $25,000 water bill, sewer bill, or a water line fracture, which happens, the property was from 1942, what happens, it makes it very difficult. Makes it very difficult.
Jill, has the board written any correspondences to the assemblyman or the state
Yeah.
senator?
Yes,
Can you share those with the
can.
clerk and the council?
I will
and
do
mayor?
that. I will do that.
Was there ever a response or?
Usually we're looking into it, you know what I mean, or we're aware. And so I have spoken directly on several occasions with Assemblyman Conrad. He's got a direct connection to the housing committee in Albany. And so I send him emails, we talk. I have also gone to DHCR, Housing Community Renewal, my organization, and gone up the chain to make sure that they understood that we're special and different in Tonawanda. We're not a subsidized housing unit. We have to be treated. So that's kind of what the focal point has been. Hey, we're not just trying to knock on the door because we're another housing authority. We're an unsubsidized housing authority. We need these funds to continue to operate for the 256 families that are living here today. Well over 500 people. I mean, I'm not even sure if people realize that about 10, 11% of all of the school age children in Tonawanda School District live in Tonawanda Housing Authority. There's a lot of people live there. And we're all trying, and I will send that along to you,
Thank you.
sort of like it was a formal format.
Thank you.
Dale, is this a figure of 171,000? Is that a fixed figure or is that going to continue to grow as,
Last month, it was 159,000.
so as the months progress, that
Correct.
figure is going to grow?
As tenants continue to not pay arrears or pay current rent, that number grows.
So what recourse do you have if they're not paying the rent? I know you said you're not.
Currently, we do not have a recourse that because of the fact that ERAP provides protection, those protections will end. So what we've done, sat down with legal counsel and our board to try and figure out how are we going to handle the folks who owe us $10,000? What are we going to do? This is all uncharted territory. I don't have an answer to give you right now, but we're thinking through, how do we do this?
Right.
If we've never extended a payment plan greater than 6 months or even a 12-month period, $10,000 is not going to be covered in a one-year plan. So we've got to look at things very differently. COVID requires us to do that. The times we're in today require us to do that.
So even if, just so I can wrap my head totally around this, even if somebody came to you today and said, here's a check for 171,000, that's not gonna stop the loss next month and the month after. Is that correct?
That's potentially correct. If someone gave me $171,000 to wipe out arrears, it doesn't fix if someone doesn't have a job and they don't have current income and they can't pay the rent. So you would still have that potential. You always have that potential anyway.
Right.
And we deal with that on a daily basis. We always try and find a solution
Sure.
to keep that roof over someone's head.
Thank you.
You're welcome. One other comment, just real quick. I think it's primarily for the mayor. We do have a board appointee who their period of being on the board for the townhouse expires in February.
Is the individual willing to come back?
I can ask him that question.
Ask him,
I will ask.
because if he is, and I'm willing to just extend it another period.
I'll send him an email, John.
Appreciate it.
Right.
It's a 2-year term, 4-year term.
2 years.
All right, anybody else have any questions?
If you have any questions, you know, email me, call me.
Email me, I'll send them a letter. Tell them.
I'll do that.
And thank you for all you're doing. We
No
appreciate
problem. Thank you.
it. Thank you. All right. Let's take a few minutes before we go out on the floor. For 7 o'clock.
Okay, for those individuals in the Zoom call, we are going to be pausing the recording and putting everyone into the waiting room until the formal session starts at 7 p.m. Madam President, at this time, everyone from the waiting room has been brought back into the meeting. We are recording and it's 7:04.
Thank you so much. If you could call the meeting of the City of Tonawanda Council to order, can you please call the roll?
Belanich,
Here.
Nocera,
Here.
Rautenstrau,
Here.
Mylum,
Here.
Cook.
Here, if we could stand for the pledge, which will be led by Councilwoman Lalanich.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please stand. Lord, we are here tonight to conduct matters of importance. Guide our hearts and our minds in the spirit of truth and understanding. Impart your supreme wisdom upon our actions as we dedicate ourselves to the principles of the council. In this we pray, amen.
Amen.
You may be seated. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to the mayor for his presentation to our veteran.
Great.
Mr. Pasek can come up.
Thank you. Let me just read this real quick before I go up and congratulate our first recipient I made this commitment a long time ago, and I would love to see it continue. We're gonna do it the second meeting of every month, which is the third Tuesday. This is a certificate of recognition by the city of Tonawanda for Veteran of the Month. And our first Veteran of the Month is presented to Joe Pasek in recognition of his service, his dedication to the Vietnam Veterans of America, Western New York. And I have a letter in here, and Paul Piotrowski wrote this. VVA Chapter 77 would like to nominate Joseph Pasek of 85 Fuller Street in Tonawanda as the first Veteran of the Month. Joe served in Vietnam as a medic with the 101st Airborne and was awarded the Bronze Star Medal. Joe was also chairman for the committee to bring the wall that heals the city of Tonawanda this past summer. He is also responsible for our Agent Orange Committee and the Orange Blossom sales throughout the year. We at Chapter 77 feel he is worthy of this award. And without any further ado, I'd like to congratulate Joe Pasek. Please stand. We want to say two things to Joe. Congratulations and welcome home. Thank you, Joe. Thank you.
Just want to say a few words.
I guess it's all pictures.
Yeah, you didn't know that was part, right?
No, I think.
1, 2, and 3. Thank you.
As long as he doesn't take his glasses off, we're in good shape.
Oh.
When he takes his glasses off, then he's got a long speech.
I just want to say a few words. Anybody that knows me, I don't like to be in the spotlight, you know. I just like to be in the background and blend in. I am honored for this award, especially being the first one for the city of Tonawanda. And as the mayor mentioned, part of my recognition is due to the fact that I was the chairman last year, which brought the wall that heals the Veterans Memorial Park here this past July. But all I did actually was plant the seed. I got the ball rolling. I had tremendous amount of help from my fellow veterans of Chapter 77. I had a tremendous amount of help from the various City of Tonawanda departments, the Department of Public Works, Mr. Workling, and the Department of Parks and Recreation, Mandy Lau. And I had tremendous support from the City of Tonawanda Police and the City of Tonawanda Fire Department. We had for the escort for the Wall That Heals over 200 motorcyclists. And it was just a phenomenal organized event. As everybody should know, it was the first time it ever came to Tonawanda. Unfortunately, it'll probably be the last because they visited about 30 different communities every year. And they mentioned to me that Tonawanda was one of the best locations they had ever visited since they started the visits in 1996. So it's a great recognition to the city. And they said we had over 12,000 visitors for that 4-day event. Unfortunately, next time it'll be in this area, will be in Erie, Pennsylvania, which is about 90 minutes away from here. And that'll be on the Memorial Day weekend. But they do so many visits, unfortunately, they won't be back to Tonawanda. But I want to thank everybody that made it possible. I just started the ball and everybody else pitched in, all the volunteers, my committee, my fellow veterans, and of course, Jenna, you remember I came here last year asking for the support from the council, and you folks were tremendous. So I cannot thank you enough, and I'm really honored by this recognition. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Communications from the mayor have been ordered and filed. Communications from city officials and correspondence have also been ordered and filed. We are not going into executive session. At this time, we'll now take comments by the public on the resolutions. For those that are joining us virtually, there is a spot for you to raise your hand. Please do so, and the clerk will call upon you. For those that are joining us in person, if you wish to comment on the resolutions, please do so now. Mr. Clerk, anyone wishing to address the council on the resolutions?
Madam President, at this time, I do not show anyone wanting to make any comments on the resolutions.
Okay. Hearing and seeing none, let's roll.
Resolution number 1. By Councilmember Rautenstrau.
We have a second. Second by Mr. Nocera.
Resolved that the common council minutes from February 1st, 2022 be accepted as filed.
Comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Lulanich,
Aye. Or here.
Nocera,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
Aye, declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 2 by Councilmember Nocera.
Do we have a second?
I'll take it, Madam President.
Second by Mr. Mylum.
Resolved that the bills be allowed as audited.
Comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Lulanich,
Aye.
Nocera,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
Aye, declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 3 by the council, seconded by the council. Resolve that the city of Tonawanda Common Council has reviewed the proposed intermunicipal shared service agreement between the city of Tonawanda and Niagara County for the storm water management coordinator services, approves the terms and conditions in that agreement, approves providing stormwater management coordinator services to Niagara County for the sum contained in the agreement, and authorizes the mayor to execute said agreement. Funding fiscal impact, $47,100 from Niagara County to the city of Tonawanda Engineering Department for services rendered.
Comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Lulanich,
Aye.
Nocera,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
Aye, declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 4 by the council, seconded by the council. Whereas the city of Tonawanda Police Department is in need of various towing services for all motor vehicle disabled by collision or otherwise, abandoned in the snow or other natural emergency, or impounded by the Tonawanda Police Department. And whereas Dan Walter and Son, Inc., a privately owned and licensed towing service located in and has an impound lot in the city of Tonawanda and has provided towing services in the city for numerous years pursuant to previous contracts. And whereas the city desires to enter in a new contract with Dan Walter and Son, Inc. to continue exclusive towing services. And whereas there is no cost to the city to enter into this agreement, and the city benefits by having a streamlined and efficient police procedure for the removal of distressed vehicles, and in addition provides free towing for all city-owned vehicles within a 25-mile radius of the city of Tonawanda. Now therefore be resolved that the Mayor John White is hereby authorized and directed to execute a contract between the city of Tonawanda and Dan Walter and Son, Inc. regarding towing services. A copy of the said agreement is on file with the city clerk.
Comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Malanich,
Aye.
Nocera,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 5, resolution number 5 by the council, seconded by the council. Resolved that the award of the Young Street Quarter Improvement Change Order number 3 be made to Scott Lawn Yard, Inc. at a cost not to exceed $8,664.23. Funding fiscal impact $8,664.23 from the Smart Growth account.
Comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Olanich,
Aye.
Nocera,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted. At this time, we'll now take comments by the public following the resolutions. For those that are joining us virtually, there is a spot for you to raise your hand. Please do so at this time, and the clerk will call upon you. For those that are joining us in person, please step forward. Mr. Clerk, we have a comment on the floor.
Christopher Fisher, 413 Main Street. I'm here to comment on the City of Tonawonda's Veteran of the Month program. I'd like to thank Mayor John White for creating the program that not only honors veterans, but local veterans from right here in our city. This program is a small token to show local veterans that city government does care for city veterans. It was also nice to see some positive press involving the mayor's office and a local newspaper. I brought a copy of the Kenton Bee. No one received it. Mayor White has it there. The Kenton Bee did an informative article about this new program. In closing, I'd also like to say on the bottom of the certificate, I saw that both the mayor and the council president signed the certificate. I applaud that we now have a functioning government where our Democrat council president is working collaboratively with our Republican mayor. I thank you, Council President Cook, and I thank you, Mayor John White.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Any other comments? Mr. Clerk, anyone wishing to address the council virtually?
Madam President, at this time, I do not show anyone in the Zoom call that's looking to make any comments at this time.
Okay, Mr. Nocera.
Thank you, Madam President. Just a couple notes. I was very pleased yesterday to distribute 100 Valentines over at 5 Main Street that were procured by yourself from the children at Riverview and Mullen School. They were delighted to receive those, and they were very well received. The Tonawanda Times has been published. It's been emailed, to my knowledge, at least to 105 recipients and 150, I'm sorry, 150, I stand corrected. The March edition is in production right now, and we have a date of March 5th. For any submissions from any group, service organization, or council members, March 5th, just a reminder. And our third podcast, The Talk of Tonawanda, is up already. And that individual podcast was doubled in our listeners, and we tripled our people that subscribe to our podcast. So that is well underway. Samantha Moscato, who is in attendance, was our guest and did a fantastic job explaining her process procedures for selling the city of Tonawanda to residents who want to move in here. So that was very nice.
Thank you, Mr. Nocera. Mr. Rautenstrau.
Thank you, Madam President. Actually, a couple of things I had reached out to Mayor White on, and we spoke about, so I don't really have that. I do want to mention, I know you met with the LDC I know we didn't do the around the room quite yet, but I do want to put it out there that I think they would like to meet with us. You asked me if they're available. I did hear back from them that the 15th would work for everybody. The officers would like to meet with us and kind of get us caught up on what they're doing, what their plans are. The mayor just also handed me the application as well, which I believe is available online on the website, on the Facebook page. And if anybody is interested in being a part of the LDC and, you know, has something to contribute, I'm sure they'll welcome some more people and some involvement. I think they're looking from people from, you know, a lot of different fields, banking and lawyers. They could use some help with that, as well as other people in the community that want to help out and want to help build up our businesses through the city of Tonawanda. So one, I look forward to them coming to meet with the council, bringing us up to date on some of the things that they're doing. One thing next March 1st is their meet and greet with the local businesses that they put together. They expect a large turnout at Joey's. It'll be great to see some networking and some of these businesses getting together to, you know, talk to them, see how the LDC can help them, but also see how they can help each other. It's an opportunity for these businesses to get together and network and meet each other in the city and see what they can do for each other and with our LDC. On top of that, in the zoning, I think that's the biggest thing I want to bring up is for them to get together, talk to us more and bring us up to date on the zoning requests and changing some of the zoning through the city. The last council had agreed on allowing them to fund it and to, you know, to proceed forward with it. I think we want to kind of sit together and have a commitment from the rest of the council to ensure that, you know, one, to make sure you're up to date and the new members are aware of what's going on. But just so they can know that once they put in this work, effort, time, money, that we are going to be in support of it and aware of what's going on too. So, you know, I encourage anyone to reach out to them or them coming to us on the 15th. It'll be great to hear from them. You know, besides that, I just want to say congrats to Joe Pasek. Thank you, sir, for your service. Thank you for what you've done bringing in, you know, bringing the monument in here into Tonawanda. It was a great event for our city. And everything else you do for the city. Our veterans are great, and I've had the opportunity to speak and visit with you guys over at the post on Main Street. So it's always good to see you guys here. Thank you. And that's all I really have for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rounstrau. Mr. Mylum.
Yeah, thank you. I can't see you, Mr. Basic, but thank you for everything you did. Just going back to the wall that heals. We took she was 11, our 11-year-old daughter at the time, and she's really hard to please, and she was impressed and still talks about it today. So you made an impact, and a very important one. So thank you. It was, we still talk about it. So I appreciate everything you did for the city and for everybody that was able to stop by, and for your service, of course. On a much lighter note, I've been in contact with the residents on Hackett Street, and it's the folks who do not want a fence are way in the lead at 9-1 for the for who do not want a fence put up in their yard. One of them was a conditional yes, if the city would maintain and repair the fence and come over and stain it every year. When I assured her that would not happen, it was quickly changed to a no. So I will be I'll give folks about 3 more days before I contact NSOL with the final vote. But right now it's a runaway that they don't want the fence put up. I think that's really all from, thank you, Joe, for repairing the craters on Hackett. I did get quite a few calls this week. I don't know if there was a car lost in there or whatnot. There was one on the bend going around Hackett that there may be still a deer in there. I don't know. So thank you for repairing that. I appreciate it. And so do the residents. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Mylum. Ms. Lalonich, the floor is yours.
Well, that's dangerous. No, thank you so much for the lovely welcome. And it was just great to be a part of this process. And thank you, Mr. Pasek, for your service. And That is all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mayor, you forgot to tell Ms. Lalanich that the newest member of the council brings, pizza, candy and all that.
That's only week one. I'm with you through week two.
Mayor,
Thank you. Joe Pasek, God bless. That's all I can say. Thank you. Welcome, Monica. We appreciate you being here. Looking forward to working with you. Best wishes to our friend Jerry Frizell, who had a stroke or a heart attack, and we wish him and his family the best. Wish him the best. Jim Casso, I didn't have a chance to thank you or congratulate you last meeting, but we're gonna be working with you for a while. So I want to say I'm looking forward to it, Jim. You are our main person at the office. Everything comes in through you. So we rely on you. So I'm looking forward to it, Jim. And congratulations. We received 20,095 masks. We also received 950 antigen test kits. What are we gonna do with them? Well, COVID has slowed down, we hope a little bit, but we're gonna have a meeting tomorrow morning. We're gonna find out. We're gonna try to shoot for a certain date pretty quick. We do have permission to utilize the high school parking lot. We'll make a decision really quick and set it up. And we were very well organized, thanks to the city managers we have. And we'll meet tomorrow morning, come up with that, but we're gonna do something fairly quick. We have to. When the county offers that and gives it to us, we need to work on it right away. So we plan on doing that right away also. Next is the Tonawanda Times. Carl, thank you. We appreciate you working that. Podcast, Frank Corbett does a great job with that. We don't have a local paper. So without a local paper, we need to communicate. How do we communicate? Through those ways. I don't like 100% Facebook because it can be abused and misused. So we want to do it through something that we feel comfortable with. That's the podcast. And that is our local paper, which will be at the City Hall. It'll be at the library, and it will also be at the Tonawanda City Senior Citizen Center. Those will be our three outlets. We're working some of the kinks out. We're thinking of putting it in Jenna's budget, so she has no problem with that. So we'll be able to do that. But also, again, thank you to all the department heads, everybody who make this thing. It's a team effort. You know what? We all don't take credit. You heard Mr. Pasek. He was a very honorable man, gave credit to everybody else who worked with him, and we should do the same. We should follow your steps, sir. So I thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Yes.
I happened to be in one of the special ed office last week at the high school.
Yes.
And I don't know how many thousands of tests they have. But the room is completely full floor to ceiling.
They have two of them they're going to do.
Okay,
They're giving them out, the school gives them out to the students, the families. And then we give them out to the rest of the city. It's our responsibility. So you did see a lot of them. They're not ours.
I didn't know if you wanted to partner with them to,
No, they're separate. They get theirs also from the county also, but the school's allotted a different allotment than we are. That's a lot.
a lot.
thank you, Mayor. Joe, thank you so much.
One more thing to say.
The floor is yours.
I failed to make a small announcement. The Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund, which brought the wall to heels last year, was so impressed with the city of Tonawanda and all the partners that assisted us. They selected Chapter 77 to receive one of the 4 panels. There's 140 panels which comprise the wall. They are retiring 4 panels, and Chapter 77 has been selected to receive one of them, which will be permanently mounted and displayed by the helicopter monument by Veterans Park. There are 4 names on that panel from Western New York. The closest is 1 name from the city of, or the village of Kenmore. There are 4 names out of the 560 some names on that wall from Western New York. There are 4 from the city of Tonawanda. And the panel we're receiving is not being retired. It does not have a name from the city of Tonawanda. The closest is Kenmore. But as soon as Chapter 77 and the officers and the board start working on it, we'll form the council in the city. We hope to have a ceremony at the helicopter monument, and this will be a permanent display. And I think everybody
Fantastic.
here in the city of Tonawanda has something to look forward to.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Pasek. Mr. Clerk, I yielded my time to Mr. Pasek, so if the record could reflect that. So thank you, Mr. Pasek, for your service to our country, our community. I really appreciate you and your wife, your beautiful wife. So thank you. Yeah, that's right. And I'd like to thank Mr. Pietrowski for nominating Mr. Pasek for this award as well.
Jenna, you have no idea how this all happened. We went to see our youngest daughter in South Carolina, and a friend of ours said, oh, there's this law you might want to see. He said, okay, we'll go check it out. We went there and he got it, he saw it, and said, that's it. We're bringing this to Tonawanda. That was it.
Awesome.
It's amazing.
That's
Need a
right.
bigger truck.
That's right.
Yeah, we get a bigger truck.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking the trip.
And Mr. Clerk, I've also yielded my time to Mrs. Pasek, so if you could let the record reflect that as well. Thank you both. Mr. Clerk, if you could also add to our agenda, March 15th at 6:15 PM, we'll be meeting with the LDC. So certainly we look forward to meeting with them to talk about some opportunities. And I know the mayor met with the LDC this morning. It was a very productive meeting, so that's great news there. This week, SIMC will be meeting. For those of you that don't know, that is the city and school district. We have two liaisons from the council, Councilman Nocera and Councilman Mylum, as well as the mayor who will be present. This is a discussion between both entities where we can look at opportunities to save our taxpayers and look for some cost saving measures. So I look forward to hearing how that meeting goes. Those of you who may be wondering why we're not wearing masks, New York State has lifted the mask mandate, for City Hall and other areas. So I just ask that everybody be safe. As Councilman Nocera mentioned, we received Valentine's Day cards from Mullen and Riverview. Councilman Nocera helped in delivering them to the Tonawanda Towers. And they were given to various organizations. We appreciate them spreading the love. And thank you to all those students. And lastly, welcome Ms. Lalanich to our team. I look forward to working with you. I see your nameplate has arrived, so that's great. We have a lot of projects coming forward and in the city as well as the first ward. So I look forward to working with you on those. With that said, I ask that, everybody stick around because we will be meeting with a potential developer, one that's interested in Spalding. And then the council will just be going around the room before we adjourn. Anything before we call up? All right. All right. So without further ado, Mr. Mang and Mr. Kramer, and I see Ben is. Come on forward, gentlemen.
I'm for it, will
You
Right to the
stay right by
microphone.
the microphone.
I didn't know if they wanted.
We like you, but you're gonna speak back.
So I'm just going to introduce you to the council. This is First Ward, Monica Lalanich. Second Ward, Carl Nocera. Third Ward, Sean Rautenstrau. Fourth Ward, David Mylum. Mayor John White, who I know you've met with, and I'm Jenna Cook, the council president. So thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us. I own a building on 50 James Street. I've been there for about 10 years now, 9.5 years.
Can we just get your name for the record?
Kurt Mang. I own KT Construction.
And I'm Roger Pasquale.
So our intentions are to build a new office with addition on putting on another tenant.
How much area are you guys looking for?
Well, we purchased 4 acres.
4 acres?
You're looking to purchase 4 acres.
Oh, yes.
My question, Kurt, is, you're moving from James Street. Are you gonna sell the one on James, rent it out?
No, I'm not. We're gonna remodel it, rent it out.
Good for you. Congratulations on the move. If you're moving, that means you're growing. If you're growing, that's great
It was
news.
less than that to see.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What is the, I guess, can you tell us like what the business, what your business is and what you do?
Well, we build a lot of business, well, we do a lot of work for Dennison, Ball, Van, and a couple offices, so I build a lot of places, hospitals, schools. But we're a drywall, we're metal stud drywall
Construction.
construction.
Do you have any drawings for us or do you?
Well, we built, Nick Rodner and I, and a few other people built this one here, and this is what we're hoping to build something similar to this.
Is that your
I
copy? or-
have drawings being drawn up as we speak.
Okay.
So.
Can we just take a look at it?
Sure. This is one of the drawings we did in Cheektowaga.
Is this is one copy?
Yeah, we got, we got more in the truck.
No, not necessary.
And that's similar to what you want to put on the 4 acres.
Well, depending on how much you're gonna let me go, yeah.
Sure. And there is another 6 acres available, right, Ben? Thank you.
That was quick throwing together. Like I said, all the better drawings. I'm sure.
Once you get those, if you just want to forward them to our clerk and.
Sure. We'll have a little rendering and drawing.
Perfect.
That building is at 380 Dick Road in Chickasaw.
Through me.
That particular building is 45,000 square feet.
Wow. I like the Porsche. Parking spot.
And that's what you would envision up at Spalding, something similar?
Wow. If we get the right person, yes. So. Well, I need about 15,000 square feet myself. So we'd like to have another 30 or so.
I think it's great. Looks great.
Right.
I don't have any other questions.
Do you mind if I keep this and,
You wanna walk with it?
Mr. Clerk, I'm going to hand this over to you if you just want to email it to the council, so we have it. I'll give it to you later.
Thank you.
Questions?
Anticipated start when you get approvals?
So you guys, as soon as everything gets approved, we can start.
Questions?
Oh, that's
We're
fantastic.
looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I do have your contact information, so if we do have any questions, we'll be in touch, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Nice to see you guys. Take care, gentlemen.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Do you want this? No, I already have a copy of it. All right, let's, before we adjourn, let's go around the room. Anything for new business, Ms. Lalonde?
Is this where I would advocate for any of my, like?
Yeah, so
business? Is this-
this is an opportunity for you to just brief the council on any issues, any potential resolutions. And we can collaborate and kind of talk through them.
I believe that the recreation is planning to do some fee increases.
Yes,
So I would just like to make sure that we allow time for that, to discuss that.
absolutely. So that was for the harbor docking fees, as well as increases to the recreation program. Did everybody have a chance to look at those? Everybody in agreement?
Yep.
Okay, any questions on that?
And I will just say that Mandy Locke did assure me that the fees were well within what similarly sized municipalities with similar services are. It's not to, it's just to break even, to cover the costs of the increased wages for her seasonal. So fees hadn't been raised since 2019.
Just to highlight some of the changes, baseball, softball fields increased to $50 per game, tennis courts, $30 a match, swim lessons changed to $15. That's for residents, for non-residents, $30. JO swim team with the recreation pass, changed to 30 for a resident, 60 for non-resident. Beginner lifeguarding class, $15 resident with recreation pass, $30 for a non-resident. Tennis lessons increased to $15. Tennis lessons for non-resident changed to 30. Girls softball changed to $50 with the recreation pass for a resident, $80 for non-resident. Track team resident, $15. Track team non-resident increased to 30. Soccer camp, which is a 3-day soccer camp for resident, changed to 45. Non-resident changed to 90. The 2-day soccer camp for a resident is 25. Non-resident is 50. Art class, resident 25, non-resident 50. Start Smart changed to 40. Mini camps, full day, changed to 15 and 12. Mini camp half day changed to 10 and 8. Summer camp, which I know many of our residents take advantage of this, $175 a week for resident, $150 per week sibling, $200 per week non-resident, $10 per week paid in full discount. So very minimal changes to that. Mr. Clerk, if you could just poll the council, if we're in agreement with Mandy's recommendations on the harbor docking fees, as well as the increase to the recreation programs, we'll have to publish this ordinance change and then we go from there.
Yes, it would have to be published by Friday, the 18th to be on, if you wanted to have it on the next council agenda.
I think that's the desire. I know there's some urgency as far as publication as well as getting the word out. Everybody agree?
Yes.
Okay. So Mr. Clerk, if you could just poll the council.
Okay, this is again to increase the proposed harbor docking fees and other recreational fees. Lulanich,
Aye.
Nocera,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
Aye.
Okay, I'll work with, Madam President, I will go ahead and work with our city attorney to make sure we get this published by Friday, and then we can move forward to have it on the agenda for March 1st.
Yes, and Ms. Alanish, if you could just let Mandy know that we talked about this and we'll have a resolution for March 1st.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anything else?
Not at this time. Thank you.
See, look at what you accomplished in one meeting.
There you go.
Mr. Nocera?
I attended the last school board meeting and it was a very spirited discussion. The media room was full of many residents and teachers, and many students were there. Topic of the discussions were teachers spoke about their day and how busy they were and their accomplishments. And the students spoke about unmasking the students. It seemed to be a common theme from the several students that spoke about that. And there was an update from the construction company, the construction manager and the architect regarding the progress at the new school's building site. And that seemed to be going well. They were meeting all their waypoints along the way with their timeline, but they ran into an issue with asbestos that was unexpected in a hall area. And they had to write a change order and start the abatement of that asbestos in that area before they can continue on with a smaller portion of the whole project. Also, I went to the Civil Service Commission meeting, and they spoke about some new civil service exams that were coming up, but they had been already this past Saturday that they were taken. I believe that there was 3 of them for the police department. Various ranks for that. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Nocera. Mr. Renfro.
I covered most of what I wanted to mention in my ending statements, but I just want to ensure that Jim's and you guys are okay with the LDC on the 15th
Yes, 6:15.
at 6:15. And just, if anybody has any questions or comments or anything specific that you'd like to hear from them about, please either mention it now or let me know and I'll pass it along to them as well. Thank you.
I think, do you have the proposal for the rezoning? Maybe we can pick that up and send it to Monica.
I sent it to all of us. When I sent it out on the email, I attached it.
Okay,
I sent it to all-
so that is the latest version.
I believe
is
so. I got that from the Dropbox.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Were you able to access the email?
That is this week's project.
Okay, perfect.
And if you want, I can send it to you separately if.
I'll let you know. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And we can print it out or whatever's easier. Anything else, Mr. Ronstra?
Nope, that's it. Thank you.
Mr. Mylum,
I covered everything before. I'm good. Thank you.
Mayor?
Just quickly, I did meet with the LDC. I had a great meeting with them. I believe in what they're doing, the direction they're going, and also gave them permission to work with the zoning and planning through them. I think they got a good plan, and I'm looking for a long-range plan too. So, great meeting. Thank you for coming.
Okay, perfect. Just a reminder, on March 1st, we'll be meeting with the Charter Review Commission at 5 p.m. And then we'll be meeting with Lindsay Dazilski as well and follow up to her from her meeting with the mayor. Do we have a time, Jim? Is there a time?
For Lindsay, I had Lindsay down for 6:30 and the charter revision meeting was at 5 p.m.
That's correct. Perfect. Just a reminder that AARP will be at the Senior Citizen Center on the 23rd and 25th to assist our seniors with tax preparation services. They had over 80 residents sign up, so certainly a great opportunity there. Did everybody have a chance to review our notes from Jolie Community Power? I know, Mr. Nocera, you were speaking to Tom about some questions, and I know they were meeting with North Tonawanda as well. Did anybody have any thoughts, questions?
They sent a file for their Dun and Bradstreet report, which I could not open, and I called and left a voicemail that was never returned.
Okay. Anyone have any thoughts?
I haven't dove into it as far as I want to yet.
Yeah, there were so many emails going back and forth on it. So, all right, we can, kind of table it and talk further about it. If you just want to reach out to him one more time and just see if he can send that to us in a format we can open.
Excuse me. I know we talked about it in some emails. We're going back and forth. I think I am a little hesitant on it. I'd like to see where this is implemented in other cities. I think when you take something like that as a whole and kind of push that down onto the residents, I know we said there's assurances and bringing people out. I think there's a lot more to be concerned about that I don't want to put down on our residents, include them in something to force them to opt out and figure it out on their own. It's just.
Yeah, I completely agree that forcing all the residents to opt into something that they may be leery of, or even that they may not completely understand that their utility bill, a portion of it is going to be billed from, an outside contractor instead of somebody that they've been familiar with for so many years.
Right.
It just doesn't make much sense to me. And yeah, the
I agree.
information was slow to come and some of it was very vague. But I believe that just opting in everybody and then having them go through whatever means that was set up for them to opt out. I know myself for opting out of some subscription services, it's a horrible experience. So I can imagine how it would feel trying to opt out of a utility.
Absolutely.
I
So
agree.
I was
I
not,
feel like by forcing that opting in, it's borderline's an overstep on the municipality.
And that was my biggest concern as well, was the opting in.
If
And-
somebody wants to subscribe to their services, they could do so on their own. But for
Right.
us to sit here as a body and say, you have to do this,
Right,
because we're gonna sign, a local law. I couldn't go there.
I agree.
perfect. All right, it sounds like we're all on the same page with that. Now, the city's received some proposals to purchase some property. And I just wanted the city attorney to brief us on where we are at with this, and I know I'm kind of catching him off guard. But I'm just looking for an update on 77 Young Street. Do we have the legal description for that property yet? And can we proceed with the direct sale at this point?
We're still working on the legal description. We're getting some information from the engineering department to make sure that we don't deed a part that we need for the bridge and embankment and so forth.
Okay,
So we've got the survey. We don't
okay.
have an exact legal description
Oh, so we found the survey.
yet. A survey, yes.
Okay,
I'm not sure it includes all of our land yet, but we're working on
okay. Do we have a time frame of when we may get that?
it. Probably a couple of weeks.
Okay, and we can't proceed with the direct sale until we have the legal description of the property.
Correct, so that the buyer can make sure that it's sufficient for his purposes.
Okay.
Just in case we don't have enough square footage for what he needs.
Right,
We don't want to sell it to him and then he can't do the project anyways because we excluded some of the right of way that we need to retain.
understood. Okay. Oh, don't go anywhere. You did a quick turnaround there. And then the council received a proposal regarding 250 East Niagara. And I know there was some discussion going back and forth if that property had to be alienated, and I know we were going to call the state. Did we ever hear back from the state?
We have not received an answer yet back from the estate. I was speaking with Brittany this evening. She's going to contact them again tomorrow.
Okay, but the council can still proceed with the direct sale with that. That's just one piece of the puzzle that we need to have answered, right?
Well, we need that answered because the direct sale would hinge upon the city, if it is parkland, finding other land to alienate parkland.
Would be the problem.
So that
Okay.
would be a problem. It's got to be of an equivalent size.
So we're on pause until we get that answered, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And we don't have a time frame on
No.
that. Okay, all right. Once you hear, can you just send a written, memo
We'll put it in
to,
writing for council. so
Okay.
Here, well, one way or the other. The assessor's opinion at this point is that it's not parkland.
right? Okay. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much for those updates. Anything else, council? All right, I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I'll do it.
Seconded by Ms. Lanich. All those in favor?
I.
All right, have a great night, everybody. Thank you so much for coming.
It was fun being your guest.
At this time, we're gonna be ending the recording, and thank everyone for coming on the Zoom call. Have a good evening. We'll see you at the next meeting.
So we want to discuss it now?